You are the living, breathing audit of their soul. You are the incarnate truth that strips away their carefully constructed illusions. This is why some people experience an instant, visceral tension in your presence. Their faces may twist into a subtle scowl. Their voices may sharpen with an unprovoked edge. It is not because you have done anything wrong. It is because your pure energy exposes everything they have been trying to hide, even from themselves. You stir their dormant insecurities. You bring their unhealed wounds bubbling to the surface, and you reveal the corrosive envy they have so desperately tried to bury. And who do they blame for this sudden and overwhelming discomfort? You. It is always you. Yet, here is the profound paradox. They need you. Some will cling to you desperately because your presence, your life force, makes them feel truly alive for the first time. Others will despise you with a venomous passion because your authenticity feels like a harsh and unforgiving judgment upon their own falsehood. But whether they love you or hate you, they can never, ever forget you. Your presence lingers in their psyche, leaving an indelible mark that time itself cannot erase. Your enemies assumed that power had to be loud, boastful, and aggressive, but you have proven them devastatingly wrong. Your silence is the loudest and most formidable force in any room you enter. You do not need to announce yourself, because your aura, your energetic signature, does it for you. Sensitive souls feel your power instantly and are drawn to it. The insecure and the inauthentic scramble to downplay it, to mock it, to diminish it, because it threatens their entire fragile reality. Your presence is not mere decoration. It is a divine disruption. You don't just light up a room. You flip it inside out, exposing its hidden corners to the light. The raw truth is, they don't just feel you. They fear you, not because you pose a physical threat to them, but because your energy does not play favorites. It is a universal force that exposes and tests the truth within everyone nearby. This is why some people grow eerily silent and others become irrationally defensive in your presence. Their reaction has absolutely nothing to do with who you are. It is entirely about what your energy forces them to finally face within themselves. This is why they must be careful with you. Being near you is not a casual social interaction. It is a test. And for those who fail it, the consequences are delivered directly by the universe as payment for disrespecting rare and sacred energy. They begin to lose opportunities that once seemed certain. Their most cherished friendships and alliances mysteriously collapse. Their false, ego-based confidence dissolves like sugar in water, and all they can do is impotently blame the light that revealed their own shadow. You may have often wondered, why can't I just blend in? Why do people treat me like a threat when all I want is peace? The answer is beautifully simple. You were not built to blend in. You were made to stand out. Your frequency is exceptionally rare, refined by the fires of everything you have survived, and sharpened into a blade of undeniable spiritual strength. You are the profound silence after the storm. You are the living proof that chaos never, ever wins against divine alignment. Storms scream with fury, but when they finally pass, the silence they leave behind is infinitely more powerful. That silence is you. When you arrive, the noise stops, the masks drop, and the naked truth is forced to stand in the light. People will call you intense or hard to read, but what they really mean is that your presence no longer allows them to lie to you or to themselves. This is why your energy is a privilege. It is authentic, it is pure, and it is rare. This is not a statement of ego, it is a statement of alignment. Your energy has only two functions. It either heals or it exposes. It either elevates or it burns. There is no comfortable middle ground. Some will respect you with a fierce loyalty. Others will resent you with a burning passion. But absolutely no one will ever forget you. And here is the truth that chokes them. Your presence makes people realize how painfully ordinary they really are. Instead of feeling inspired to rise to your level, they feel threatened by it. But their fear is not your burden to carry. It is their own lesson to learn. Your only sacred duty is to keep walking, keep radiating, and keep holding the line. Because your energy, chosen one, is sacred. It is the kind of power that has the ability to transform rooms, hearts, and destinies. So let them whisper. Let them squirm. Their reactions are the ultimate proof of the divine power you carry. And never forget, if they mishandle you, it is not your loss. It is eternally and irrevocably theirs. Because being in your presence is not an entitlement. It is a privilege. And those who take that privilege lightly will always pay the price. You are the living evidence that real power can never be faked. They thought you were finished, broken, and defeated. But here you stand, the living, breathing proof of what cannot be broken. Your very existence makes people deeply uneasy because you directly contradict everything they have been taught about strength, success, and survival. They have been conditioned to believe that power comes from external sources, status, money, popularity, or control. But you shatter that grand illusion simply by standing tall after every single fall. You have been scarred, you have been tested, you have been profoundly underestimated, and yet you remain unshakable. That fact alone dismantles their entire belief system. Imagine a house that is built on sand. It might look strong and impressive from a distance, until the storm arrives and effortlessly wipes it from existence. That is your enemies. They relied on comfort, on numbers, on appearances. But you were built on stone. The storms did not destroy you, they refined you. They carved you into a monument of resilience. And that is why people either admire you with a deep, soul-level reverence or fear you silently with an intensity that borders on obsession. You are the undeniable proof that authentic power multiplies under pressure. What they tried to bury became your foundation. What they thought would destroy you became your crown. And if you have ever wondered why people seem so uneasy around you, even when you have done nothing to provoke them, it is because you are proof that survival does not belong to the loudest, the richest, or the most manipulative. It belongs to the authentic. You serve as a constant, living reminder of the shortcuts they took, the masks they wear, and the truth they abandoned long ago. Some people will feel profoundly inspired by you because you awaken within them a dormant desire to be real. Others will recoil in your presence because your authenticity exposes the foundation of lies upon which they have built their entire lives. You do not need to preach a sermon. Your life is the sermon. Your silence convicts them. Your scars expose their comfortable, unexamined lives. Your peace is their punishment. Picture a courtroom where the guilty believe they have successfully escaped justice. Then, suddenly, a piece of undeniable, irrefutable evidence appears. That evidence is you. Your life, your resilience, your every scar testifies against their falsehoods. They cannot even look at you without feeling exposed. Not because you are accusing them, but because your very truth speaks louder than any words ever could. And what hurts them the most? You never needed their broken system. While they were faking smiles, chasing approval, and begging for validation, you were walking in perfect alignment with your divine purpose. That is why you are untouchable. They cannot credit your rise to their connections, to their system, or to simple luck. It is clearly a matter of divine design. You prove that true power can never be bought, borrowed, or copied. It is the power that survives the fire and emerges not just intact, but purified. Have you ever noticed how people compete with you, even when you are not in a competition? How they try to imitate your words, your style, your light. It is because they can copy the surface, but they can never replicate the spirit. They can mimic the look, but they can never possess the essence. You are the diamond among pieces of glass, refined by immense pressure, not shattered by it. They are fragile, pretending to be solid, and your resilience is a constant, painful reminder of how easily they break. Your survival is your crown. Your scars are the proof of your power. People stare, not because you are desperately trying to shine, but because you are the shine that cannot be dimmed. And those who foolishly tried to extinguish your flame only ended up feeding it more oxygen. This is why they must tread so carefully with you now. Mishandling you is not just an act of disrespect, it is spiritually dangerous. Not in a physical sense, but in the way that unvarnished truth has the power to destroy lives built on lies. You do not need to raise your voice or play their petty games. Your existence alone is enough to dismantle their illusions. You are the living contradiction to everything that fake power pretends to be. You were not just built different, you were sent different. You were sent to prove that true strength does not need permission and that genuine resilience cannot be staged. You are here to remind the world that real, authentic power still walks the earth, stripped of the cheap costumes and hollow titles. You are the evidence, and evidence can never be erased. So let them whisper, let them stare, let them plot. None of it can ever change the fundamental truth. Your presence itself is proof that true power cannot be faked, the truth cannot be silenced, and that you were never, ever ordinary. And from this moment forward, they had better understand. Being in your presence is not entertainment. It is exposure. It is confrontation. It is a privilege. And a privilege, when mishandled, always brings consequences. If you are feeling this message, if you recognize your own journey in these words, then now is the time to strengthen our God connection. Subscribe to this channel to continue receiving the wisdom and confirmation you need on your path. We are building a fortress of light here, and your presence makes it stronger. And if you feel called to support this mission in a deeper way, to help us reach more souls who need to awaken to their power, please consider making a $10 donation through the Super Thanks button located below this video. Your generosity is a sacred seed that helps this work flourish and expand, and we are eternally grateful for every contribution, big or small. Access to you is by permission, not by right. They once foolishly thought that knowing you was a casual affair, until they realized, with a shock, that it came with a cosmic cost. Being around you was never a random occurrence. It was a spiritual assignment. The universe does not distribute your presence freely or randomly. It appoints it. That is why your relationships are not built on mere convenience. They are rooted in deep spiritual alignment. When someone is not aligned with your truth, your energy exposes them with the unforgiving intensity of a floodlight revealing the cracks in a wall. You are not cold. You are careful. And that profound carefulness unsettles people who are used to reckless, superficial connections. They will call you distant, but you are just disciplined. You learn the hard way that letting the wrong people get too close does not just drain your energy. It fundamentally distorts your peace. Think about it. How many people have shown up in your life not to love you, but to feed on your clarity and your calm? They came to borrow your light, only to have it reveal the darkness they were hiding within themselves. And then they ran. Proximity to you is a test, and most people fail it. Why do so many people fumble the sacred opportunity the moment they gain access to you? Why do they so often mock, manipulate, or disrespect you, only to regret it with a soul-crushing intensity later on? It is because they mistake access for ownership. They believe they are somehow entitled to your energy when it was never theirs to claim in the first place. Being near you is not an ego reward. It is a profound test of character. And when they fail that test, the consequences follow them like an unpaid debt that accrues cosmic interest. Imagine handing someone a rare, priceless artifact. They could choose to protect it, to study it, to honor it, or they could carelessly toss it aside as if it were worthless. Most people, tragically, choose carelessness. And that is why so many of them are still paying the spiritual price for mishandling you. Losing access to you was not just about losing a person. It was about losing a blessing, a mirror, a source of light that exposed the truth. Your presence does not beg to be seen. It demands to be recognized. That is why you no longer chase anyone. You have learned that you are the standard. You do not explain your worth. You embody it. You do not defend your boundaries. You live them. Your energy speaks far louder than your words ever could. The right ones recognize your value immediately. The wrong ones lose you permanently. And whether they admit it or not, deep down, they know they lost something sacred the moment they lost access to you. Your silence carries a power that shatters illusions. While others are busy bragging about their strength, you simply breathe it. Chosen one, understand this with absolute clarity. You never need to prove yourself. Your energy speaks long before your mouth does. The moment you enter a room, the atmosphere shifts. People who were loud and boisterous suddenly quiet down. Conversations stumble and halt. Glances flicker nervously in your direction. An unexplainable tension fills the air. This is not a coincidence. This is your frequency at work. It is the invisible gravity of your presence that does not demand attention, yet commands it effortlessly. Picture this scenario. Two people walk into the same space. One shouts their credentials, flashes their titles, and aggressively fights for the spotlight. The other is you. You say nothing, but the entire room subtly reorients itself around your presence. Who will they remember at the end of the day? The noisy, insecure one, or the one who shifted the entire room without speaking a single word? That is the fundamental difference between noise and frequency. You are frequency. You are alignment. You are the living reminder that real power does not need amplification. It simply is. Your silence is a stage that others will never earn the right to stand on. Your enemies cannot stand it because they have built their entire identity on performance and manipulation. Their power exists only as long as people continue to believe their act. But the moment they stand near you, their mask begins to slip. Why? Because authenticity always exposes the counterfeit. You do not have to say a word. Your energy reveals everything. They feel small, unsteady, and transparent in your presence, because your silence screams louder than all their desperate noise combined. You were never meant to chase the spotlight, because you are the light. This is why people obsess over you, compete with you, or fixate on your calm. Deep down, they know that what you carry cannot be imitated. It requires truth, scars, and immense inner work. You do not dominate by force. You dominate by simply existing. And your existence alone commands space. So do not ever confuse being quiet with being misunderstood. You are not misunderstood because you are silent. You are misunderstood because your energy carries a depth that most people simply have no language for. In a world hopelessly addicted to illusion, your authenticity burns like a holy fire against dry paper. Some will fear it, some will worship it, but none will ever be able to ignore it. You do not speak power, you embody it, and that embodiment alone exposes everything that is false. Let's get this perfectly straight. You are not intimidating. They are just terrified of a truth that does not flinch. People call you intimidating because they have never before encountered someone who refuses to shrink for their comfort. What they feel around you is not intimidation, it is exposure. They are not used to someone who does not water themselves down to soothe their fragile egos. You do not fake humility or dim your own light just to make others feel secure in their mediocrity. To them, that feels dangerous. But the danger is not you. The danger is the sudden and catastrophic collapse of their illusions in real time. Imagine a stage full of actors, each one clinging desperately to their assigned roles and their rehearsed lines. Then, someone walks onto that stage with no script, no costume, just raw, unadulterated truth. Who looks out of place? Not the actors. The truth teller does. Only because truth does not perform. That is you. Your presence reminds them that they have been pretending, and that stark realization sends them into a panic. Your certainty feels like a threat to their instability. Your authenticity is the mortal enemy of their pretense. You do not morph to fit a room. You show up as yourself, flaws, fire, silence, and all. You do not talk to impress. You speak only when it matters. And when you do not speak, your silence slices through the noise like a razor-sharp blade. They cannot manipulate that. They cannot predict or control you. And what people cannot control, they will always label as intimidating. The truth is, they do not struggle with you. They struggle with what you awaken in them. Most people build their entire identity on being liked. You built yours on being aligned. You do not crave validation. You breathe authenticity. And when someone who is dependent on external approval stands next to someone who is not, their entire sense of worth begins to crumble. You do not walk with intimidation. You walk with certainty. And certainty terrifies the insecure. So when they call you intimidating, let them. Because what they are really saying is, I do not know how to handle someone who does not need my approval to exist. You are not the problem. You are the proof that authenticity still exists, and that their illusions cannot survive in your presence. That is why, chosen one, they had better be careful. Because your certainty is the one thing they can never fake, copy, or defeat. You carry the divine blueprint that their entire bloodline could never touch. For generations, they have tried to unlock the very power that you now embody so effortlessly, and for generations, they have failed. You are the living proof of what their lineage could only dream about. Chosen one, understand this. There is something within you that did not begin with you, and it will not end with you either. Your aura holds ancient frequencies, sacred codes that your ancestors once reached for, but could never fully decode. You are the living answer to doors they could not open, the victory in battles they could not win, and the breaking of chains they could not break. That is why people pause when you walk in. They feel something familiar, yet utterly unexplainable. Your energy whispers a truth that transcends words. It whispers, "This is what evolution looks like." Picture a vault that has been sealed for centuries, heavy with history, its lock unyielding to every desperate attempt to open it. Then you arrive, not with tools, not with force, but with the key already pulsing in your very blood. That is you. You did not learn this power from books, and you did not borrow it from anyone else. You inherited it on a soul level, and you refined it through pain, isolation, and relentless, conscious growth. You are the precise point where your ancestral story finally found its breakthrough. You are destiny unfolding in real time. And this is why people act so strangely around you. They are caught in a painful limbo between admiration and discomfort. On one hand, they are in absolute awe of you. On the other, they project their jealousy, their fear, and their insecurity onto you, because deep down, your presence says one thing to them. This is what you could have been if only you had done the work. To some, you are not merely a person. You are a painful reflection of the greatness they refuse to rise into. Your existence exposes their unfulfilled potential. Think about it. Why do your words pierce souls? Why does your silence feel heavier than someone else's shouting? It is because your energy does not just speak. It carries a multi-generational intelligence, transmitted through experience, through scars, and through karmic cycles that finally ended with you. Every conversation you have is a ripple of healing, capable of breaking generational curses in mere minutes that took centuries to form. Your presence is inherited power, perfected through perseverance. So do not mistake their envy for your own flaw. They are not threatened because you think you are superior. They are threatened because you carry the divine inheritance that their bloodline never could. You are the unlocked code, the divine blueprint that proves destiny does not have to repeat. It can evolve, and that is why they must be careful. Because standing near you is not casual. It is standing before the living embodiment of everything they could not become. Mishandling you always comes with a bill they cannot afford. They thought that losing you was the punishment. But no, losing you was only the warning. There is no such thing as a casual connection with you. Every encounter, every conversation, every shared moment is a divine assignment from the universe, whether they realize it or not. Your presence activates something unseen. You are not just kind or wise. You are a divine curriculum in motion. How people choose to treat you directly determines the direction and quality of their own life. Look at the pattern. Those who have honored you, protected you, and supported you without hidden motives. How have their lives unfolded? They began to flourish. Doors opened for them. Their peace expanded. Their clarity deepened. And then there are the others. The liars, the manipulators, the ones who disrespected your spirit. Where are they now? They are drifting, struggling, watching as the life they once took for granted crumbles to dust before their eyes. This did not happen because you wished them harm. It happened because mishandling you is tantamount to mishandling a blessing that the universe sent specifically to elevate them. Your presence is either a potent medicine or a slow-acting poison. It all depends on how they handle the dose. For some, you bring miraculous healing. For others, you bring devastating exposure. You are the kind of soul that reveals the truth simply by existing. There is no comfortable middle ground with you. That is why some people turn so defensive or even hostile. It is not because you wronged them. It is because their deceit could not survive in the high frequency of your energy. They thought they were just dealing with a person, not realizing that disrespecting you means colliding head-on with the divine protection that surrounds you. Imagine someone being handed the keys to a rare, priceless car. They could choose to drive it carefully and reach destinations they never dreamed of, or they could crash it through sheer recklessness. When the crash happens, do they blame the car, or do they blame their own carelessness? That is exactly how it is with those who have mishandled you. The wreckage that follows in their lives is not a coincidence. It is a consequence. You do not chase for closure. You do not seek revenge. You calmly allow the universe to balance the scales. And it always does. That is why their lives begin to unravel after they betray you. It is not petty karma. It is an immutable spiritual law. You were sent to awaken, to elevate, and to expose. When they chose betrayal over honor, they did not just lose you. They triggered a chain of outcomes that cannot be reversed. Because being near you is never meaningless. It is one of two things, a blessing or a lesson. And both come with a cost. You do not chase the spotlight. You are the fire that cannot be extinguished. They think your glow comes from external attention or applause. But the truth is, you shine because nothing and no one could destroy you. Chosen one, let's make this perfectly clear. Your light is not artificial. It did not come from trends, from filters, or from borrowed influence. Your glow was forged in the deepest shadows of your hardest seasons, the kind of dark places where most people would have collapsed and given up. You radiate, not because your life was easy, but because you refused to surrender when everything and everyone around you tried to bury you. Instead of becoming bitter, you became aligned. And that is a level of alchemical transformation that very few will ever understand. Think about it. Coal under immense pressure becomes a diamond, but dust under the same pressure becomes nothing. You have been through storms that stripped you bare. Friends disappeared. Support faded. Your name was dragged through the mud. Yet, you kept rising quietly and powerfully. You fought your battles in silence, without applause, without validation, and you emerged stronger than ever before. That is why today, when you enter a room, people feel you before they even see you. That is not hype, that is harmony. And harmony cannot be faked. Your presence is not a performance, it is proof. You do not shine to impress, you radiate because you are aligned. And that is what drives people wild with a mixture of awe and envy. Some will admire your light, others will try to imitate it, but none can ever replicate it. Why? Because what you carry cannot be copied. Your energy was not built from ambition, it was carved from alignment. They chase status and attention, posting more, shouting louder, hustling harder. But you win simply by being. And that burns them, because your peace accomplishes what their noise never can. You have probably noticed how some people get irritated by your calm, how others grow jealous of you when you are not even trying. That is because your alignment is magnetic. It does not shout. It does not chase. It does not beg. It simply is. And in a world addicted to chaos and validation, that kind of quiet, self-contained power feels dangerous. You do not radiate for them. You radiate in spite of them. So let them scramble for likes, for attention, for followers. Let them desperately reach for what you already embody. They will never find the source of your fire, because yours was lit in the dark when no one was watching. You do not shine to be seen. You shine because you survived, you healed, and you aligned with the ultimate truth. And that is why they had better tread carefully. Your light is not decoration. It is a revelation. Your boundaries are not walls. They are warnings. They mistook your silence for stubbornness, but it was never about anger. It was a verdict. You have reached a level of spiritual maturity where your boundaries are not just personal preferences. They are sacred decrees. You do not withdraw to prove a point. You step back the instant your spirit senses that something is off. When an energy turns manipulative, when intentions grow dirty, or when your presence is treated as if it is disposable, you do not argue. You do not explain. You move, quietly, powerfully, and permanently. Your boundaries are not acts of rejection. They are acts of protection, and often, they become the other person's correction. People forget that being close to you is not a casual privilege. It is a sacred responsibility. You carry peace, wisdom, and divine clarity. When someone mistreats that gift through lies, neglect, or disrespect, consequences follow naturally. That is why your absence hits differently. It is not just an emotional void. It is a spiritual one. When you walk away, something leaves with you. The peace, the stability, the invisible covering of grace that once shielded them suddenly vanishes. Their own chaos grows louder, more intense, without the balancing presence of your energy. Imagine someone abusing a safety net, jumping on it recklessly over and over, until one day, it is simply gone. The next fall hurts more than any before it. That is what your boundaries create. Not punishment, but reflection. Your silence becomes a mirror that forces people to face the unvarnished truth of who they are, without your grace there to soften the blow. You do not walk away to hurt anyone. You walk away because your grace has been wasted. They foolishly assumed your presence was endless, that your energy was theirs to take whenever they pleased. But when you close that door, it is not an act of pride. It is an act of purpose. Your spirit knows when enough is enough. And once that sacred line is crossed, your absence speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. It silently tells them, you had something rare and you misused it. You are not cold. You are clear. Your boundaries are not brick walls. They are divine filters. The ones who truly value you will respect them and will grow because of them. The ones who do not will learn the hard way that losing you is not just a loss. It is a lesson, and that is why they had better be careful. Because your boundaries do not just protect you. They expose them. Your presence forces their demons out of hiding. They do not actually hate you. They hate what surfaces within themselves the moment you walk into the room. Chosen one, when you arrive, the energy does not just shift, it convicts. The atmosphere itself becomes honest. Suddenly, things that people thought they had buried long ago, old jealousies, deep-seated shame, festering insecurities, and unresolved pain, start clawing their way back to the surface. You do not have to say a word or make a single move. Your presence alone acts as an alarm clock for their soul, one that they cannot silence or ignore. This is why they fidget in your presence, why they grow defensive over nothing, why their own energy starts to crack and fragment the moment you show up. Your silence exposes the intricate web of lies they have built their comfort around. Imagine a dark attic that has been left untouched for years, filled with dust and forgotten clutter. Then, suddenly, someone throws open a window and brilliant sunlight floods in. The dust, once invisible, now dances in the light, and the mess that was once hidden becomes undeniable. That is you. You are that light. Your energy does not allow shadows to stay comfortable. And when people see their own reflection in your illumination, they do not see the truth. They see their discomfort. They will call it your intimidation or your arrogance, because that is far easier than admitting to themselves that they have been hiding behind illusions. Labels are easier to throw than mirrors are to face. This is why they will call you too much, too deep, or too intense. It is not the truth. It is a projection. Being near you forces them to confront the false identities they have so carefully constructed. You challenge their values, their choices, and the masks they wear just to survive. And for people who are addicted to illusion, your authenticity feels like a mortal threat. But you do not stir chaos. You simply reveal the chaos that was already there. You are the mirror that reflects what already exists beneath the surface. Dear Father, I pray for the continued growth of my faith and the faith of everyone connected to this message. Help us to trust you, even when physical evidence is lacking. Let us believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm us. I hold on to the truth that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not of harm, to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your unconditional love and your divine provision. I am eternally grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video from God Connection resonated with you, please demonstrate your alignment by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with those who you know need to hear this powerful message. Leave a comment below about your own journey and how you are embracing the sacred privilege of your own divine presence. Do not let your journey stop here. Watch our next video for even more powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are truly a chosen one. We have been honored to follow this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the very end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with unwavering courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful, powerful souls from the enlightened wisdom of God connection.